Victims of grooming gangs who were themselves criminalised will have convictions quashed and criminal records cleared as the government introduces changes to legislation and pardons what were called child prostitution convictions.
Yeah, this comes as 4 survivors who resigned from the National Grooming Gangs Inquiry, along with 5 others who remain on the panel, are writing to the Prime Minister today. They're asking for a face-to-face meeting in order to address their concerns.
Ellie, Reynolds and Fiona Goddard, who both stepped down, called Sir Keir Starmer's response to their resignation inadequate and impersonal. And they join us now. I mean,
good morning.
You clearly feel very, very disappointed in the way in which Sir Keir Starmer's handled this.
It was nothing personal about that letter whatsoever. It was fake. It was a polite way of saying, I'm not interested, basically.
Tell us about the letter, then. This is a letter that you received from the Prime Minister, but you feel like that's the content of it just did not address what you are talking about.
No, not whatsoever. And not only that as well, but we were under the impression that he was going to be personally reaching out. The letter, I don't even believe that it was written by him. The signature, it wasn't a genuine signature from him. There was no care, there was no thought.
Fiona, what did you think when you read it?
It didn't address a single concern of anything that any of us had put on his resignation letters, and the language used in it were the same script we've heard repeatedly in Parliament from different ministers. There were nothing different to what we'd already heard before from the letter. It were quite a pointless exercise, really.
Have you felt the same way when you've talked to Louise Casey, who did the investigation for the Prime Minister, to Jess Phillips, who's the safeguarding minister? I mean, do you think Keir Starmer is the same as all the rest of them in terms of just not understanding and engaging, or...?
I really like Louise Casey. I met her on Newsnight and she's lovely, and she really does care. Whereas Jess Phillips, I do believe Jess Phillips cares. I just don't always think that it comes across the right way. Her behaviour after we resigned has completely shot all trust for me there. I've got no faith left there. I couldn't imagine ever getting back involved in the panel and having to sit in a meeting with her after what happened.
What is it that you feel let down about when it comes to the Minister?
So the way she quoted our resignation letters and said that the claims were untruthful when she knew they weren't, and she also knew we had the evidence, and she'd not reached out to either of us personally before making public statements.
Is the dispute over your concern that this inquiry is not going to be focused specifically on what you experienced and was going to broaden out too much, which you feel would have diluted the investigation into what happened to you?
I feel like there was a variety of concerns, really, because I feel personally like it was a set-up from the start. I feel like the terms of reference were already drafted, yet we were on that panel to help shape the terms of reference. Everything that we were saying was basically going in one ear and out the other.
Right.
So the way that they handled it and the way that they patronised us, I don't think it was ever set out to succeed.
The trouble is, listening to you this morning, and you've resigned now, and you want to obviously speak directly face-to-face to the Prime Minister and explain what you're worried about.
Both of us want an inquiry. We want an inquiry. We've fought for an inquiry. We are fully in support of an inquiry. We just want it to be done right. We want to get to the results that we need.
So tell us, what would an inquiry look like, and who would it be chaired by that you feel would get to the bottom of what you experienced and the issue of Asian grooming gangs that you were victims of?
It's not even necessarily just the Asian grooming gangs, it's just grooming gang type styles in general. They're a specific subsection of crime. They've got a specific motivation behind them, a specific target. The way they work, they are easily identifiable. To stick solely on grooming gang style crimes and to get to the root cause not only of how they work and how we can address it, because the current way they work does not fit into any designed framework already made up.
But what happened with the terms of reference that meant that that was not going to be focused on?
They were asking questions, saying, do we feel like it should be widened? Do we feel like the remit should be widened or not? And we were giving answers that they just weren't happy with. Like I say, they basically had their decision set in stone before we even went on. And I feel like it was basically they had the survivors on there, so if anything went wrong like it was going to, I think that they'd have been the first to point the finger at us and said, well, we consulted with survivors. I think it was set up, I think it was fake and just not necessary. It's at the point now where this inquiry, nobody's going to have any faith if it's, you know, it needs to be done truthfully, needs to be done properly. People need their justice, and we're aiming to fight for the future as well as the past and present. Do you know what I mean?
The thing I understand about this, which is why this is so hard, is because both of you and people like you rightly feel massively let down because you were failed so many times by so many people. But if you have a judge do the inquiry, well, let's be honest, the courts let you down. If you had a police officer do the inquiry, well, the police let you down. If you have a parliamentarian, well, Parliament let you down. It's really hard to see when you've been through such trauma, but also when you've been let down so badly, is there anybody who you could ever trust enough to do something which you would think is genuine and authoritative and truthful? Because I know why you would say, yeah, but they all lie to us.
Well, I think that's why we need to look outside of the country, in Commonwealth countries where they've got the same legal structure, the same moral compass.
Somebody who was never involved in Britain at all.
They've got no political allegiances, they've got no connection to any organisations or institutions that failed. Either that, or if they can't find someone from a Commonwealth country, maybe look into the military, which is an institution that wasn't directly involved in anything to do with us. There is options if they want to look for them.
Although, could somebody from Australia or Canada actually ever properly understand what you went through here in Britain?
I don't even think the British do. So if they don't have an understanding, and I mean, I don't think it's that they don't have an understanding. I think it's that they don't want to get to know. You know, we've asked to sit down with numerous people and share our experiences, so they do get that understanding. They're not interested. I think from outside of the country, it's easier then because they're not influenced by any institutions within Britain. And I think that would be the most successful thing now.
That's a really, really interesting point.
Can I just put to you what the Home Office said? The government is... I can't see... I'm so sorry. The government is committed to a full statutory national inquiry to uncover the truth, and there will be no hiding place for those who abuse the most vulnerable in our society. Our door will always be open should the survivors want to return. But also, just the Home Secretary had said, this inquiry is not and will never be watered down on my watch. Its scope will not change. The inquiry will focus on grooming gangs, and that will not change. Thirdly, it will explicitly examine the ethnicity and religion of the offenders. But you don't feel reassured?
Not at all. If there was no place for abusers to hide, why has it been going on decades? Why has nothing been sorted out? Like I say, they don't want to. They don't want to, and I believe that they don't want to because if everything starts coming out, they're going to be seen as complicit. They covered it up for too many decades now. They don't want to.
Thank you both for...
Could Louise Casey do that inquiry?
I actually would have faith in Louise Casey for the simple fact of the audit and how in-depth the audit went with the limited...
So Louise Casey is somebody you both would accept could do this?
Yeah, my parents met with her as well, and she seemed lovely. So.
She seems a unique individual in that people have trust in her.
Yeah, and she doesn't necessarily have connections to them same institutions in the same way.
Very interesting. Thank you so much.